What's up, YouTube? Corey Hankerson here from Legacy Tax and Financial Planning, author of End the Tax Nightmare, Insider Secrets to Beat the IRS and Reduce Your Tax Debt. Today, we're talking about whether or not the IRS uses private debt collectors to collect past due tax debt. I know, a crazy thing, who would have thought, right? But it's actually becoming more and more of a question these days. Before we jump into that, I'd like for you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button down there at the bottom of the screen, or maybe there's one up there in the top in the upper left-hand corner. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please also go ahead and smash that like button to let YouTube know that you like this video. And if you want to be notified each and every time we drop a new video here at Legacy Tax, please go ahead and hit that notification bell so you get that little ding each and every time we drop a new video. We do drop here multiple times a week. With that being said, here we go. Okay, so you've always been told that the IRS does not use private firms to collect tax debt, and that if anybody calls you saying that they're from the IRS and they're demanding you to make payments over the phone, that you should know it's a scam. Heck, I've even told my clients that, right? If someone calls you, they're telling you they're from the IRS and they want you to send them money or make a payment over the phone, the old guidance was that you could know right away that that was a scam. Well, things have changed. Beginning in 2017, the Congress mandated that the Internal Revenue Service begin to use private debt collectors to collect past due tax debts. And there are 4 companies that have been approved to begin collecting this private debt on behalf of the Internal Revenue Service. I've got the description of those 4 companies down below in the description box with a link to their website so you can check them out. So yes, the IRS does now use private debt companies to collect past due tax debt. The question is, how do you now know that the person who's calling you is actually representing the IRS and not one of the many scammers out there who are trying to take your money? How do you know that they're not just saying they work for the IRS and they're actually a scammer? Well, the IRS has a system that they put in place that they say is designed to protect the taxpayer and allow you to know that the person who's calling you actually works for them. So it's supposed to work something like this. You should receive a notice in the mail. It's called a CP40 notice, CP40. You should receive that notice in the mail, and that notice will say that your case has been transferred to a private debt collector. It should list the name of one of the 4 companies that we have linked below in the description that's been assigned to collect on that debt by the IRS. It should also give you that company's contact information and their website. Most importantly, you should receive in that notice a unique identifier code that it should be matched up with that company and that notice and you. What should also happen is you should receive the same letter directly from the private debt collector. So you're going to be receiving 2 notices. One should come from the IRS and the other should come directly from the private debt collection company. The notices should mirror each other and they should also have the same code, right? So that should be a clue. If you don't receive that exact same notice, one from the IRS, one from the debt collection company with the same information and bearing that same code, then you should know that this might be a scam. Okay. The other thing is that private debt collection companies are not allowed to threaten any of the what we call enforced collection activity that the IRS has the ability to take. Right. Let me break that down. What that means is this. Private debt collection companies are not allowed to garnish your wages. They're not allowed to place a lien against your home or your other assets. They're not allowed to seize your tax refunds. They're not even allowed to threaten that they can do any of these things. They're not even allowed to imply that some of these things might happen to you. So they're not allowed to take any of the enforced collection activity that the IRS can take, right? They're also not allowed to enter into what we call an offer and compromise. That's where you offer the IRS less than the full amount of the tax debt. They're not allowed to do that. They're also not allowed to put you into what we call currently non-collectible status. That's where we present to the IRS that you can't afford to make any payments towards your tax liability, and to force you to do so would put you into financial hardship. The private debt collection companies cannot do that, okay? What they can do, however, is set up a regular installment agreement for you, okay? That's what we call a full pay installment agreement. They can do that, right? But that's about the only thing that they are allowed to do for you, okay? Now, what happens if you decide that you don't want to work with one of these private debt collection companies? Then what you want to do in that case is send a letter directly to the debt collection company, and also send a letter directly to the IRS saying, hey, I want my case to be transferred away from this private company and back to the IRS. There's a link to a sample letter in the description below. You can check that out to see how it's done, okay? So once that happens, you want to then follow that letter up with a phone call to the private debt collection company within 2 weeks, and your case should have been transferred back to the IRS by that time, okay? Now, what cases are eligible for transfer to the private debt collection companies? We're talking about cases where the debt itself is past due, okay? So that's not your tax debt for the current year. We're talking about tax debt for previous years is eligible to be transferred to a private company, okay? Now, there's certain categories of taxpayers who are not eligible to be sent to the private debt collection company. We're talking about folks that are under the age of 18. They can't be sent to the private debt collection company under the new rules. Folks that are currently in the military and on deployment, they can't be sent to a private debt collection company. Folks that are deceased, I know that sounds weird, but the IRS does go after tax debt from deceased individuals from time to time. And then finally, folks that are already in a payment plan. So if you're already in a payment plan and that plan is current, then the IRS cannot transfer your case to a private debt collection company. All right. So that's it for today, guys. I just wanted to sort of break that down and let you guys know I've been getting a lot of calls and a lot of text messages about that from time to time. Does the IRS use private debt collection companies? Unfortunately, the answer is yes. Listen, guys, if you found value in this video, please go ahead and hit that like button. And if you want to see more from Legacy Tax and Financial Planning, please go ahead and subscribe to our channel. We'd love it if you did that. And hit that notifications bell so you'll be notified each time we drop a new video. We do tend to post here. We will be posting here regularly. All right, that'd be awesome. And finally, if you owe back taxes to the IRS or to the state, don't fight the government alone. Please go ahead and download a free copy of our book. We wrote a book just for this particular topic. It's called End the Tax Nightmare: Insider Secrets to Beat the IRS and Reduce Your Tax Debt. You can get a free copy of the book if you go to endthetaxnightmare.com. You can download the book for free, endthetaxnightmare.com. But hey, if you want to purchase it, we'd love for you to do that too. Please go ahead over to Amazon. You can buy a copy of End the Tax Nightmare right there at Amazon, right? But otherwise, please go ahead and download a free copy of the book. You can click on our scheduling link if you want to schedule an opportunity to talk with us here at Legacy Tax and discuss your case. We're glad to explain the ins and outs of your particular tax situation and what can be done to help end your tax nightmare. All right, so that's it for this week, guys. Hope to hear from you guys very soon. Talk to you later. Bye.